Hello everyone, my name is Blessing and I am a first year psychiatry trainee here in the UK. Okay, so in my last video, I was telling you guys about how I got into psychiatry training here in the UK. And so if you're yet to watch that video, why don't you just click on this link here and you can watch all of that video. It's supposed to be a preliminary to this one. So today here in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys about how I actually got into psychiatry training with a low MSRA score. Okay, you guys will be like, okay, that's not possible and all of that. But then, of course, it might seem like it's impossible. But then by the time you're done watching this video, you will understand how it happened. And that might also work for you. So just come along with me and let's get right into the video. Okay. With it's no longer news that MSRA has become very competitive compared to what it used to be. So I remember like 2 rounds ago, or the round before mine was like 2 rounds ago. So the round before mine, I remember a friend of mine who got into psychiatry training with a score of less than 500. And in my round, I got over 500 and yet I could not secure a slot in psychiatry. Okay, so it happened that, okay, initially I felt, oh, that was a good score. Everyone was like, oh, that's a very good score, and this and that. And I felt, oh, that by the time I was done ranking, I realized that, okay, there's no chance that of getting into psychiatry training. And so I applied for GP and psychiatry. But then I just know that GP is not for me. Like, of course, I know some people don't mind GP, but I just know that I probably might not do well in GP training. So I just was just there like, okay, in case I change my mind, anything might happen. But then I just knew that GP wasn't for me. So what happened? Then I actually got, okay, so for my GP, so for my psychiatry, I decided to rearrange I decided to rank my locations again, you get. So in order to like maybe improve my chance, I included areas that I did not include. Previously, I just wanted England, but sometimes I had to include Wales, Scotland, and all of those places. Because it was just like, okay, if I just get anywhere, I am ready to go. And so it happened for my GP. I ranked like the very big cities and all of that, and then I didn't get. So I now re-ranked like those locations again, and then I picked like some places in West and East Midland, and then I got my first offer. And so I held that offer and while I was hoping for a psychiatry offer. And then eventually the deadline came where if I don't accept the offer, it was going to be automatically declined. And gosh, it was a tough decision. But then I knew that I wasn't going to do GP. And I told myself, okay, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is that I'm going to sit for this exam again. And that was it. And so basically from my experience, what I am trying to basically say is that, so when it comes to getting a training slot, 2 things are important. One, your score, especially for psychiatry and GP. Your score is very important. The higher you score, the higher you're going to be on the ranking list. So it means that you are likely going to get a slot faster than other people. Other people will score less than you. Now, the other thing that can affect it is the way the locations you rank. So if, for example, like 2 people, maybe they scored like 540, one of them ranks somewhere that is very competitive, and the other person ranks like maybe a place that is not very competitive, there's actually a chance that that person will rank a place that is not so competitive could actually get a slot, while the other person who had the same score but ranked somewhere that is very competitive will not get a slot. And that is because that place is very competitive, there's a higher chance that a lot of people who have scored very well will likely want to apply to those places, and those places are usually like the big cities. A lot of people want to live in the cities. So you're talking about London, you're talking about Manchester, you're talking about Birmingham, like think about the big cities, so a lot of people want to live in those places. So definitely the competition in those places will actually be high. So it means that the slots available will be given to people who have scored. So if there are more people who have scored way higher than 540 that are qualified for that slot, it will readily be offered to those people than the person who has actually scored 540. So while that 540 person is still trying to get a slot, the 540 person has already gotten a slot in a less competitive place. When you want to actually rank after your result comes out, the first thing you should ask yourself is, what is your rank? So if you check what are the available slots in that specialty. So I think for that year, psychiatry was like, there were 450 slots. So it means that if in your ranking you still got up to like 450, so it means that you probably scored very well and then you have a very good chance. But then if your score is less than that, then it might mean that, okay, you're not doing very well. And then there's the option of, if you get like maybe your 5th ranked position, there is always an option for upgrade. And so that means that a lot of people so now the thing is this, a lot of people actually pick GP and psychiatry because of course there's no portfolio, there's no interview. People just always pick it as like their fallback plan. You get, like, if the specialties they really want, if they don't come true, then they can always fall back on psychiatry. So sometimes they get slots in those specialties, so they just let go of the psychiatry offer. Because one thing about MSRA is this: if you're offered a training slot and you accept it, you're automatically out of that round. It means that you have accepted it and that is it. You're not going to have the opportunity for any other specialty. So if it happens that maybe you apply for GP, psych and all of that, and GP usually comes out first, and then GP comes and then you get like a GP offer and then you accept it, then that's it. Every other offer you have applied, every other application to any other specialty will be automatically withdrawn. So that's why it's always better to actually, you need to calculate well. So if you think GP is something you want to do and you know that your score in psychiatry may not actually get you, a slot, then it might be wise to actually accept your GP offer. However, if you know that, or maybe any other specialty that you want, so I'm just giving GP and psychiatry as example because it's quite relatable. So you can go ahead and do that. But if for any reason you just feel like, okay, this is not something I can do, then it means that you have to wait and, hope for the best, you get. So that was basically the situation I was in. So I got a GP offer. By the time I re-ranked and then I got my first offer, and then it was like, okay, this is a very good offer. Are you going to take it? But I just knew that at some point, I really wanted to take the GP because I was like, I don't think I want to go through the whole hassle of writing MSRA again. And because the competition is so crazy, and this is likely going to be progressive. It's not going to get lesser, it's not going to get better. I got to a point where I made up my mind that, okay, I was going to let the GP offer go. And that was because I actually got an encouragement from somebody. I asked that question on a particular Facebook page where I was like, okay, if you had this score and this score, is there still a chance that this and this? I was really worried. And then somebody replied to that message and said, and that person's experience actually encouraged me to take that step. And what she said was that she actually declined that GP offer because she wanted psychiatry. And just on the day that the application was going to close, then she eventually got psychiatry. So I felt, okay, that this is worth trying. What's the worst case scenario? I won't get any slots and then I will go write the exams again. So that's actually like a very risky move. But then I waited and then I kept changing my rank, and then I got to a point and I was like, okay, I am not doing this anymore. So I took off all the Scotland and Wales option, and all I had left was England, because at that time we had concluded as a family that we just want to be in England. And then everything happened until the day I got the email that the all the spaces have been taken and the application for this round has closed. I remember the day I got that email, I was sad, low key. But then I just told myself, okay, I've been preparing myself for this for a very long time. So I just moved on, like I just brushed it aside and then I moved on. What's the worst case? And then the next day I started preparing for the next MSRA. But then fortunately for me, I think sometimes like 2 months, like about 6 weeks after this, after I got the email, then I got another email like, okay, that a slot had opened up in my fourth, that was like my fourth ranked location. And then I was offered a job and I accepted it and all of that. And it seemed like something that was almost impossible. But then I realized that a lot of other people also got slots around this time. So, but then what is it that is really peculiar to these slots? Most times they are usually like in the rural or regional areas. They are not in the cities, because a lot of people with high scores would have ranked for the cities, and people want to move to the cities, people want to live in the cities. So the positions in the cities, they are always almost occupied. So, but then I'm just saying that this is just an advice. It depends on you. If you really want to get into the training and you feel like your score is low and is not going to be able to get you a slot, now these are the options that you have. You could either settle for the specialty that actually offered you a position, then you take that slot and move on, with your career. Or if you feel like, okay, that is just what you want to do and you don't mind taking the risk, then the other risk is you reject the offer that you already have, so that you will still be able to remain like in the reserve list, for that specialty. So that if at any time anybody cancels for any reason and then a slot opens up, then you actually have a chance to get it. And that's because, so it happened that during that time, a lot of people who even scored way higher than myself, out of fear of not getting a slot, actually went ahead to accept their GP offers. And months later, when I got a slot and they got to know about it, they were so disappointed, because they were like, if they had known, they should have just waited. So a lot of people are actually going to, be in that position where to be like, okay, a bed in hand is so better than 1,000, in the forest. And it's just like, okay, I have this now, I'm just going to accept it and move on. So when such people actually take those positions, it takes you higher up, on the reserve list. So that's basically what happens. So everything is, maybe it's sounding, I don't think it's actually like sounding as complicated as I'm saying it. I'm just saying it does a lot. There's a lot of numbers involved, there's a lot of calculation, there's a lot of risk taking, you get. But it depends on you. Analyze it. Do you think that this is a risk that you want to take? Do you think it's worth taking? Do you think that you won't, like in the next 2-3 months down the line, you won't feel like, if I had known, I should have just taken it? Is there any chance at all that the specialty you have been offered, that you actually want to do it, you have any interest in it, and you think it's something you want to consider for a career? Then that's fine. You don't need to go through the whole hassle of waiting for another specialty. Just take it. But if you feel like you may not do well, I feel like then maybe I'm not trying to advise you. You definitely will have to make a decision about what you want for yourself. I'm just telling you that it's not just about the exam score. Like some people will just think that because they had certain score in their exams, like it's all written off and they cannot get a slot. No. And some people, I'm just trying to tell you that sometimes late offers do happen. Even times that applications have closed and then this offer just shows up from nowhere. That could actually happen. And sometimes so people reject their offer for some other reasons, you get. And so such offers can open up, and then if you're still on the reserve list, then it means that you actually have a chance of getting such offers. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section. If you have any comments, did you have a similar experience, how did you go through it, please feel free to share it. Did it work out well for you? Did it not work out well? Please feel free to share your opinion in the comment section. It might just end up encouraging someone, or it might just be what someone needs to hear in order to come to that place of making a decision about their choice. So feel free to like, to comment, to share, and also subscribe to this channel. Until I see you again, do take care. Bye.